Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the I Hate Marketing podcast. I'm super excited. We have our second guest, Sophie. She is extremely special because of what she does with copywriting, but I'm not going to bother introducing her because that's her job. So, Sophie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks for the intro. I'm so excited to be here. Hi, I'm Sophie. I'm a copywriter and strategist, and I help women write empowering copy using the power of psychology. So science-backed and all of that.
Okay. I like that. And I'm going to literally just get straight into it because I'm genuinely curious. You say it's got psychology, it's science-backed. Can you explain to people what that actually means? Because I think some people don't even know, what that really looks like for copy.
Yeah, so I think that the success of your copy is understanding the audience that you're writing to. And to understand them, you have to understand how their brains work, how they interact in social situations, buyer psychology, sales psychology, all of that kind of stuff that you need to really do like the pre-work to make successful copy. Because I think that's like another like misconception is like the success is in the writing, but it's not. It's all the research and understanding your ideal client and being able to like tap into how they think and how they buy in order to write copy that converts.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like you don't, as a consumer, really think about the science behind it too, but it's almost like when the copy is good because you feel like it's like speaking directly to you. Like that happens to me so many times where I don't even like realize I'm being like marketed to. And I feel like that's always the best.
Yeah.
And because I am a marketer, I'm like, it makes me want to buy from them even more when they get my attention. So I guess like I want to know a little bit more about you as well. So, you have your degree. So what made you want to combine psychology and copywriting? Like, how did you even get started in this industry?
Ooh, it's been a journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always loved writing and obviously psychology. I double majored in psychology and sociology. So like people explain it as like psychology is the inside out and sociology is the outside in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always loved people and understanding that. And then I lived in South Korea and I was like writing a travel blog. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know
Um,
that.
yeah. Like I love the world. And so I was an English teacher in Korea and I was like writing, just like throwing some bombs on you.
I know.
But I was writing a travel blog and no one was reading it. And I was like, how can I make this so that people read it? And so I started learning about copywriting a little bit there. And I mean, being an English teacher and like being in a country where I'm not fluent in Korean, I had to learn how to communicate really articulately. So yeah, and then I came back to the US and I was like trying to figure out my next move. And I came across TikToks about this online industry and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
So I just decided to jump in. I was a virtual assistant first and realized I was like continually
Mm-hmm.
gravitating towards copywriting. And yeah, and then I just made the leap. And it was like the perfect combination of psychology and writing. And I think I'm really, really good at it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I love the combo of it.
Yeah, I think that's awesome when you're able to combine I feel like more than just the skill, but like the actual like science behind it. I think like I started kind of doing that as well a few weeks ago because I was like just feeling like everything I was teaching was super like surface level. And that's a whole
Mm-hmm.
nother conversation that I know you've probably
Yeah.
seen me talk about where we feel like we kind of have to dumb ourselves down a little bit to get our point across. But
Mm-hmm.
I actually like am wanting to not do that anymore because there really is science behind certain things. Like, a lot of what I talk about, there's like science behind like conformity and like why people follow trends and what makes them want to
Yeah.
copy other people and whatever, which is what I've been kind of talking about. So it's
Mm-hmm.
super interesting to see that, especially from someone that I used to do blog writing. I used to try to do copy for people way back when I first started, but I was like, I know I'm not doing this good. And I feel like it definitely is a skill that like not a lot of people have. So super interesting.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. And like when you're talking about conformity, it's like that's why social proof works, because like
Mm-hmm.
people want to see people that look like them or sound like them or have like something that connects them, in order to like buy your service.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I actually am interested. I want to like give some advice to, business owners or other people who might be listening, because I know so I've had 4 businesses. The people that have listened to this already know my story. But for me, like I wasted so much money, like in like bad investments, right? So I was never able to invest in copywriting. And so for someone who maybe is just starting out and they don't have a huge budget for copywriting or whatever, like what would you recommend for them? Like what do you typically recommend in that situation?
Yeah. I think writing not about you. So like focus on one person. Like if you think of your ideal client and write like you're just talking specifically to them. I think a lot of people write too generally and then it loses like the pizzazz that you
Mm-hmm.
need to kind of like make it converting. So I think always asking yourself like, why will my ideal client benefit from this sentence or this paragraph, or how am I adding value to them in each thing that I write?
Mm-hmm.
um, and like thinking about your goal too. So like if your goal is connection and you have some sentences that are just not for connection, then take them out, which I
Mm-hmm.
know is a hard thing to do, but I think the main thing is like not writing about yourself, writing about your client and for your client.
That's pretty smart. I feel like as business owners, we tend to kind of like we're selfish in a way, because it's like we're unable to really like remove ourselves from the situation and think like, okay, how can I benefit my client, or how can I like at least make them think this is going to benefit them? So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna like ask another question too, because I'm just curious, like are there any like brands or people that come to mind who you're just like, this is some amazing copy, or like anyone that's like ever stuck out to you or anything like that?
Um, yeah, I mean, I love Copy by Callie. I think that she's like no
Mm-hmm.
bullshit.
Yes.
And she talks about like a lot of like the industry things, which I love. But
Mm-hmm.
I also think that her copywriting is really genius. Who else? Jeff Coleman, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He does a lot of like psychology based copywriting. And I just, yeah, I love learning about the science part of it. What was I going to say? Oh, I wanted to comment on what you were saying
Yeah.
about business owners being selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why talking about like how it's going to benefit them works, because
Mm-hmm.
business owners are selfish. Like people are reading and they're like, how is this going to benefit me? Like, why should
Mm-hmm.
I care? Because they're just going to like click away if they don't see the value that you are bringing to them. Like if you're not showing them why this will,
Yeah.
they're going to be selfish when they're reading it. So,
Yeah, that's a huge problem. I feel like in our industry, like the online service provider community is like, it just feels like everyone's got a lot to say, but no one's really listening. And like, it's a huge problem. I mean,
yeah.
and it's like learning how to stand out. I mean, it's like a combination of like, good copy and just like learning what makes you unique. And like, so I feel like copywriters have a lot of leverage, but for some reason, I feel like it's not something people always think to invest in. And I don't really know
Yeah.
why, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think that like we get so caught up in like the like surface level things, like the cute graphics and the like
Mm-hmm.
silly reels and all of that, that it's like
Mm-hmm.
this, or like, yeah, it's like the top of the funnel everyone thinks about. But like
Yeah.
it's like what happens when you get all those leads?
Like
Like what's
nurturing
gonna
them.
convert?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's honestly so true. Like I'm even thinking like I had my TikTok account for my coaching page is like does really well. And I had a freebie for a while and I was getting like 5, 10 people on it like every single day, but I wasn't doing anything with that. And so it's like
Yeah.
that's so true, that's literally so true. We always think top of the funnel and never
Mhm.
like the work that it takes to get them to sign. Interesting.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and there's so many freebies everywhere. And like, how many do you sign up for and then you never get an email, or um, you never get, I don't know, any type of like nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dude, my garbage man. Hold on. That's what I'm gonna do. This is gonna be so bad. I'm gonna literally stop this for a second, everyone, because this is so loud. Hold on. All right, so we're back. I had to pause because the garbage man wanted to ruin my podcast today. But it was actually interesting because on our break, Sophie mentioned how she's a digital nomad, which I also did not know. I definitely need to expand my intake form then, because I feel like that was some good conversation we could have had. But why don't you actually let's pause on the copywriting thing, because I feel like I'm really interested to know about like your traveling and your working. Like, give us a little bit about that. Like, tell us what you're about.
yeah, I mean, it's been my dream for a really long time. I actually like didn't want to go to college, and my mom was like, no, you're going,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm so grateful for and happy for now. But yeah, I lived in South Korea, and then I left Korea, and that was in February 2020, and I had like a year-long travel planned, like all my accommodation booked, and then of course the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic happened. Um, and so I like stayed home and had to like reroute. But after starting my business, and it's like successful enough that I can be location independent. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, right now I'm in Grand Teton National Park, and then we're going up to Montana. I have a friend that I'm doing this with, but I'm planning to go back to Europe soon, and um, yeah, just travel around. I think like
Yeah.
travel is like the one thing that can like open your mind up more than any other experience in life. And like even owning a business, like we grow so much, but I still think travel is like the number one way to like really expand and
Yeah.
open.
I feel like
Great.
I'm like so annoying in the sense that I love being home. Like, I feel like I've moved around so much in the last few years that like I just genuinely want to like build my home like where I'm at. But at the same time, like when I do travel, I have like such a fucking good time. Like,
Mhm.
but my other thing is I hate driving. So like I don't mind actually
I do
driving,
too.
but I hate being in the car. So are you guys driving or are you flying?
We're driving,
Yeah, see,
which is unideal, but not ideal.
I just went to Arkansas like a week and a half ago with my friend to pick up some puppies. And it was like, we had a good time because we're friends and we can like get along. But I'm like, dude, I couldn't do this like
Mhm.
frequently, you know? But I do
Yeah.
agree.
I
Traveling is
I mean,
good.
I think van life is so popular right now, but I'm like, really, like you sit in the car like
Oh,
so much of the time. I don't think I could do it.
how is that good for
Um,
your health? Like to be in
yeah,
your van like 20 hours a day? I don't understand.
definitely not. Where are you living right now?
I'm in Texas, Austin, Texas.
Ah,
So,
my
which
brother lives there.
really, yeah, I love
Yeah.
it here. It's like, I mean, I lived in California my whole life, moved to North Carolina when I got married, and then I got divorced, moved back to California, and then moved out to Austin. And I love it here. I'm just struggling to meet people, like, in my
Yeah.
network and stuff. So
Mhm.
that's been like the biggest. But actually, I guess like it makes me wonder, like, do you ever like meet up with like people in our space or like go to like networking events or anything?
I haven't been to any networking events, but when I was living in San Francisco, I met up with a few people. Um, Tara was one of
Mm-hmm.
them.
Yeah, she's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, she's great. But yeah, I think, or I remember you talking about wanting to like move more in person. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
like when I was meeting up with people, I was like, damn, like I've missed this stuff. And
Oh
like
yeah.
I felt so grateful to be able to connect with those people and just like build those relationships, and they feel really special. So I want to like
Mm-hmm.
figure out how to do that more. You're working towards that?
Yeah, and actually, so Tara's a really good example because her and I are kind of in a similar position where we're just like hitting this point in our business where we're like, we're not enjoying what we're doing anymore. Like I don't like doing marketing for people anymore. I like to do consulting, but unfortunately, right now consulting isn't paying the bills because it's like I have to rebuild up my like my lead base. And so she lived in Austin, and she's like, we were like FaceTiming, and she's like, dude, I know so many people in Austin. Like I can like totally like connect you. And I'm like, see, that's like what I need. And people don't understand the power of networking. I mean, that's how people get jobs. That's how people like find significant others. Like that's how people just, I think, are successful, is networking. And there's so many people who are just like so content with just being in their house and sitting behind their computer. Like I
Yeah,
used to be like that. Can't do it anymore.
it's so true. There's a psychologist, her name's Meg Jay, and she wrote The Defining Decade, which is a really popular book right now. But she was talking about weak ties, and how like all of our close friends are strong ties, but the weak ties, like people we meet in yoga classes or like at a coffee shop, like those are what are going to bring us opportunities and growth and expansion and all of that. So like that type of networking is so important.
That's so true. And it's kind of funny because I feel like even copywriting could help, just even like narrowing down like your elevator pitch, or narrowing down like, you know, the way that you summarize your business or something. Like it's very powerful, because I feel like you only have one chance, obviously, you know, to make an impact with someone. And I definitely think local is where it's moving towards. And I feel for the people who are actually international. I've had 3 conversations now about that. And they're like, to be honest, like no one here is down for that kind of thing. It's all like, they're all like saying that the US is where it's popping with like certain types of business stuff. Like so
in person business stuff.
Yeah, okay. That's what I heard, at least from a few people that are like based in the UK. But I'm definitely making it a point to like branch out. I want to start actually going into place, because I have my CBD business, which, oh my gosh, you know what? I want to even talk about that with this copywriting thing. That has been the biggest struggle of mine, like coming out with a way to make that brand unique. Like that was my CBD business is when I realized how important copywriting was. Like it was like the light bulb moment for me, because product is like, there's so many products out there. It's like, how do you make yours different and brand it in a way? Like I could not come up with creative ways to like say anything. I swear it was it still is a struggle, but yeah.
Have you found like your unique value, or you're still working towards that?
So a little backstory. I like how this is now my interview. No, but basically,
no,
like,
I want to hear about it.
No,
let's brainstorm.
I think it is like a good, like, this is actually a good, if you're a product-based business owner and you're like struggling, same as me. So I started this business with my boyfriend last year, with the intent of it being like 70s, like hippie, you know, whatever. But then I got out to Texas and I really embraced my cowgirl, like in me. Like I was like, this is me. Like I'm like all about this Western vibe. Like I feel like I'm not like very like eclectic. Is that the right word to use? I don't know. But I was like, all right, that's not me, you know? And then I'm like, wait a second. Why don't I combine my love for this like funky Western vibe that I have going on with CBD? Because I feel like a lot of like, I don't want to generalize people, but I feel like a lot of like Southern folk don't believe in CBD or cannabis and stuff like that. So I was like, how can I find a way to bridge the gap? Right. Because a lot of people, like my dad, for example, very much Southern values, traditional kind of guy. He's like, cannabis is like the devil's lettuce or like whatever, you know? So, but it's like, if I can like find a way to like, you know, so that's like what I was getting at. That was my like shift in February, I think. So.
I mean, that's like a very clear ideal client and like untapped market. Like you're definitely filling a gap.
That's what I said that yesterday, because I've been like, my boyfriend's like, dude, when are you going to get your shit together with this Groovy Garden thing? Because that's the name of it, because Groovy Garden was supposed to be like 70s, but it's too late for me to like really change the name right now. But I'm just like, it's been so hard. But then I realized I definitely have an opportunity like to capitalize. Because I don't know if you know who Not Pot is, that CBD business, dude, you have to look them up. Their copy and like check out their website too. I hate them because Not Pot. Yeah, like they don't. Yeah, I would love to know who wrote their website copy. It was like so creative. I look at it all the time because it makes me so motivated to just want to do something.
But well, I think, I mean, I haven't seen their copy, but I'm sure it's great. But I think for product-based businesses, it's like your selling point is you. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not about the product because anyone can go anywhere and get CBD, whatever,
Exactly.
gummies, drinks, all of that. But like people connect with your story and like why you started, I think that's like the key. Um, and also like the impact of what you're doing and like showing like the benefits of that. I mean, anyone can go anywhere to like read about the benefits, but if they connect
Mm-hmm.
with your story and then they read the benefits of why you you're the right one for them or like why CBD is good for them, then
Mm-hmm.
that's like going to be the seller.
That's
Because I think people like focus too much on the product for product based, but it's not about the product because I can go anywhere and get a candle or a, I don't know,
mm-hmm.
whatever. But it's about like the people and like the story behind it. Like so storytelling is a huge part of it.
That
Hopefully,
is
I
so
don't know if that
true.
helps,
No,
but
it actually does. I'm going to use NotPot as another example. On their website, they're very much into like the movement of decriminalizing like marijuana. And so that
mhm,
was like the biggest like part of their story. And so I definitely have been trying to like integrate a story with mine as well. Cause something is like I moved to Austin and I realized how bad the homeless problem was here. Like it was bad in LA, but here is like, I don't know, it's a smaller city. So you notice it more, right? And that was something my boyfriend and I were like, damn, like we love this city. It's very beautiful. And there's obviously like a lot of people that like need help and the city needs to be cleaned up and whatever. So it's like one of my things was if I actually started making money from this business was I wanted to start
mhm,
donating like my money to like charities like that are specifically for Austin, or even to be hosting like fundraising events to what I'm saying, like so it's about like getting that message across that I feel like is where
yeah,
not only me but a lot of people struggle. Like we have this vision but it's like how do I write it out in a way that like makes sense. So
yeah. It's hard. It's not something that's like innate or natural because we all
mm-hmm,
write like about we're all selfish. Like we all
mm-hmm.
want it to be about us, but it's not about us. And um, but I definitely think that you should put that in your website because that
Okay.
or like that type of cause and people love charity and love like heart
Yeah,
wrenching
yeah,
things.
that's so true.
So like that will like connect with your audience too. Um, Also, I'm wondering if like you could do something like CBD for people who don't like weed or like something about like the like contrast of like
Yeah,
I don't know, the myth or whatever people
yeah.
think in that area versus what it
Mm-hmm.
actually is.
No, I
Um,
agree. That's definitely my angle. My target
yeah.
audience is definitely not people. I mean, I would like to like market to people who do know the benefits of CBD already and just want to support like a Western themed brand. But I do want to like introduce it. Like my boyfriend's dad, for example, he's worked construction his whole life. Like he's like has all this like these health issues basically, because he's worked so freaking hard, but he like doesn't believe in like any of that. But it's like
Mhm.
I'm like, I know I could like convert you, like,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
I definitely think that's like the direction I want to move into. Um,
Hmm.
what was I gonna
Well, and
say?
that's an objection you could address too, like in
Mm-hmm.
your copy.
Yeah,
Talk
that's
like because
true.
I'm sure that when people are reading your copy, they'll be like, but like I could, I don't know, find a
Yeah.
different solution or whatever like your dad would say.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can like address that in your copy
Yeah.
in like a non-sleazy, like non-manipulative way. But
Yeah. That's so true. So then I'm gonna like ask a question then that relates to more so the copy part of this. So for a new business owner, product or service based, like would you say investing in a copywriter is like a top priority? Like what's your opinion on that? Because clearly it could benefit you. It could have a monetary ROI if it's done properly.
yeah, I mean, I think I'm biased, but I also, so yes, I do think it should be a top priority. But I also never want to like I see so much marketing that's like, my solution is the only solution that's going to make you money. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not true. Like, you need other ways to market, but like, copy is what people consume. So, like, when someone comes to your Instagram page or your website, like, if there were no words on it, they have nothing to read, nothing to
Mm-hmm.
like connect with you. And like you could make reels all day, but like if there's no words on it, then
Mm-hmm.
like there's there's not going to be any conversions because there's no
Yeah.
copy there to like lock that lead in. And I think like with copy, it's like if you get your whole website done, you can repurpose all of that content. Like you have like your full brand messaging guide,
That's so
because you can take it all. Like you have your header, you have your like I help statement, you have your story, like all of that can be like hundreds of Instagram captions,
true.
or
Yeah.
like what you're talking about on your stories, like everything I say on my stories, or like I don't know, videos, all of that. It's like it's coming from my copy. I've read it and then I'm just speaking what I've written. So I think that like that's something that people don't realize about copy is like it creates your whole um like
Brand.
repurposing, and like yeah, it creates your whole brand. Um
You just like honestly made me realize something. Like, and I don't know if you offer this as a service or not, but if you're a copywriter listening to this or whatever, whoever you are, I think for you or copywriters in general, offering some sort of like foundational, like, okay, because here's my biggest thing. When I first started my product-based businesses, I was like, okay, I need someone to help me write product descriptions and captions. But then I was like, I can't afford that. Like it's too expensive.
mhm.
But what you just said is having those like initial, like foundational building blocks of copy, that would have been way more helpful. But I've never actually seen anyone offer that before as a service.
Like a brand messaging guide.
Literally, but call it
Yeah.
something different because I think
Yeah.
people just are so like I would literally sell it in a way that's like, look, you can hire your business coach, which is important. You can hire your graphic designer, which is all very important, but you can have all of that. But if you don't have this foundational, like 3 paragraphs that explain your brand, you'll basically have the
Mhm.
hardest time coming. I would pay for that. And that's like a one-time like project that could turn into like a retainer thing down the road. That's
Yeah.
genius.
I've had something in the works, so that's very exciting that you would find value in that. And I think also like jumping off that point, it's like if you don't have that, like what are you going to show to your graphic designer?
Mm-hmm.
Like what are you going to show to your coach? Like I mean, a coach can help you create that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but like if you don't have like the words to figure it out, and like I don't know, if you're getting your website redone and you don't
Mm-hmm.
have like all of that to be one thing that you can hand off to every person that you outsource to, then you're going to have a lot of like mixed
That's
messages.
That's so true. I'm going to take a polarizing stance here and say that arguably, if you are just out like starting a new brand or wanting to revamp your business, a copywriter is the person to go to. However, I'm going to say this though. I've worked with a lot of copywriters and I feel like very few of them that I've personally worked with offer that extra like I don't want to call it extra step or extra level, but it's like you know what I'm trying to say? Like what you just
Like
explained is
the
so true. Like, because like you just said, how are you supposed to explain anything to your graphic designer, your business coach, if I don't even know how to explain my own brand, which a copywriter would be able to help you do. So it's almost like you're this like visionary and writer that's helping you kind of formulate the concept of your brand.
ooh, that's so good.
So
Yeah,
how do
it's very
copywriters
true.
sell that idea? It's like if someone had told me, "Hey, if you hire me, I will literally help you come up with like the meat of your brand," which would have been helpful to take to all the other assholes that I ended up investing in, Like
Yeah.
seriously,
Yeah.
this is what I was trying to like get across this whole fucking time was like in my heart I knew copywriting was more important than like people realize.
Yeah.
I'm
And
stoked.
I mean, this is like so helpful for me too, because I
Good.
think um like when we all do marketing, we get so like wrapped up in it and like forget that I don't know, this is what's important, or like this is what matters. And
Mhm.
sometimes like our words don't match, which is like why market research and all of the
Yeah.
research is so important. But yeah, hearing your perspective is really helpful to me too.
Good.
And I don't know, creating offers that people actually want and like are good, and I don't know, all of that.
Yeah. No, I think having some sort of like discovery, not even I don't want to use the word discovery because it can be portrayed as something different, but just that like initial like brainstorming session that helps someone just build out their brand, even like an hour would have been beneficial. This has been beneficial just to me, and this is a podcast interview. Imagine like having an hour to sit down and solely talk about your brand. Like, and so I definitely think, again, to the listeners, copywriting can save you hundreds and thousands or whatever dollars. I have made so many dumb investments and my businesses have been stagnant for periods of time. Literally now that I'm talking about this, because I, number one, didn't do my research properly. Number two, I had no direction, which stemmed from me not understanding my business on these levels. So I just basically,
yeah, it's like a good starting point and like jumping off kind of. And it's so true. I think like it would save you a lot of money in the long run because you're not like investing in a ton of like bad investments that just
literally,
don't work out.
yeah, that's so
What else
true.
did I wanted to say something. Oh, also like having someone to talk to about it and like brainstorm and have someone that like knows what questions to ask to like get to the
Yes.
root of it, is really, really helpful to figure out like what your unique value is, what your ideal client's like deepest desire is, and all of those things that are really important for any type of marketing, whether it's like video or copy, um, website, all of that.
That's so true, because those answers will help you formulate content, product ideas, service suites, how you sell to people. Like it literally is the foundation. I keep saying it because it's just like, I guess I knew that going into this episode, but I'm glad that we finally were able to like come to that conclusion and like be
Yeah,
able to say
uncover
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
so I guess I'll wrap it up with like some of my final things. I'll give you the chance to promote yourself basically, but if there's like one piece of advice you could give to the people listening on here, it could be personal, it could be business, or specific to what you teach, like what would you give them? That's a big one, I
I mean, the
know.
first thing that came to mind was just like writing about them, not about you, but I said that earlier. So, um, I think that you don't have to use pain points to sell your offer. Like, you don't have to have sleazy marketing or manipulative, like negative, shameful copy in order to sell things. Like, you can paint a picture for they will, what the transformation will be, and that can sell your marketing. Um, because the sleazy marketing and like all of that, like, I don't know, like used car salesman stuff, like feels shitty. It doesn't work. And I mean, it does work, but then you have like a bunch of desperate people like who
Yeah,
bought out of fear. So I
so
think,
true.
yeah, we can focus on the positive and it's still going to work.
I like that. I like that. So, I mean, I guess with that being said, do you have anything you want to promote? Do you have anything you want to offer to the listeners?
Yeah. So I'm a copywriter and I do web copy and sales copy, email, and I also have intensives, which are lower ticket investments, but high value, where we can talk about your like brand discovery, ideal client, do a copy audit, all of that fun stuff. So you can find me on Instagram at it's Sophie Leon, and yeah, I'd love to connect.
Cool. All right, you guys. I'm super excited. I feel like copywriters need way more credit, especially ones like Sophie, who I feel like bring like another added bonus to it or something. I don't know how to say that without being corny, but
Thank you.
yeah. So this was a really interesting episode. I feel like I want to like definitely explore this topic more. And I urge you to as well. So again, go follow her on everything. I'll link it down below. Thank you so much for listening or watching if my one subscriber is watching. But yeah, so that's all for this episode. And I'll see you guys in the next one. So
Thank you for having me. I
Alrighty.
loved it.
Me too. This is good. So all right, folks. Adios.